What do I buy next? Wow! Welcome back to the Red Ones Go Fast. I'm old Big Mek, and in this video I'm answering the most common question I get about Warhammer 40k, which is, what do I buy next? And that answer is, of course, 42. Let's get into it! Alright, I'm pretty sure you all know what I'm on about, but we'll just do a little recap anyway. Whether you're brand new to Warhammer 40,000 or, you know, an old graybeard like old Big Mek here, you're still going to have questions on what to buy next, what to do next with your army, where to go from where you are. Most commonly, it's with the combat patrols. These are a new thing from Games Workshop that have been incredibly popular, and I get it. I really like them too. It's an army in a box. It's bigger than the old school battle forces back before that was their name for like their big holiday boxes. And they're bigger than the start collecting boxes, and it's more of like a rounded out army ready to go. And then with 10th edition, of course, Combat Patrol became an actual way to play 40k. And so what happens is people will buy a box, again, usually a Combat Patrol, they'll build it, they'll paint it, they'll play with it, and they'll really enjoy it. And they go, okay, where to go from here with my army? What do I buy next? Now, with the Combat Patrols, I don't want to say it's easy, but like there's a fairly common like moving forward from there, right? Like no matter what the army is, you look at what's in the box. If there's leaders that don't have anything to lead in the box, you get what they can lead. If there's units in the box that don't have a leader, then you get the leader, right? If there's holes in the box, so say for example, there's not a whole lot of anti-vehicle, right? Then getting anti-vehicle stuff. Maybe there isn't a vehicle, getting a vehicle. Transports are always a good option, right? Like there's a pretty standardized answer for like, hey, how do you take a combat patrol to the next level, right? What are the next things you buy? How do you get to 1,000 points, etc. from there? I've even done a number of videos on that subject. So then what exactly am I getting on about then? Well, again, not always a combat patrol. So if you've got somebody that bought an old start collecting set, or maybe a boarding patrol or a holiday battle force, or even more commonly these days with the number of vendors that are doing it and people just do moving around armies, buying a used army, right? You've bought something and it's got a menagerie of things in it, and you know, you're really kind of unsure of where to go from there. Well, there's two different ways you can look at this, all right? The first way is, of course, going, okay, how do you make it into a real army? How do you, again, make all the units work with each other, make sure everything functions, make sure that when you put it out on the board, you got a nice, well-balanced force. And it's pretty easy to get feedback like that. There's a number of really great groups on Facebook and on Discord. We have our own Discord server too. You can always come ask us there. And, you know, faction specific things in order to kind of get those answers. And it's really nice. You know, you throw up an army list or just a list of models you have and go, hey, what do I got? Where do I go from here? And you're bound to get a number of really good answers from, you know, the range of people trying to help you out. And that's one of the great things about this hobby, is that we're all so passionate about it that whenever anybody has a question about like, well, what do I do next? We're all like ready to jump in with suggestions of, oh, do these, or oh, these guys are my favorite, or like, oh, you like, if you like playing those, you'll really like this unit, right? And so it's always great to see that. The second option, which is really kind of why I wanted to make this video, is buy what brings you joy. Now, what do I mean by that? You know, there's a pretty wide gulf between being an orc and being Marie Kondo, and here I am talking about things bringing you joy. No, I really mean it, like the army itself, right? When we pick an army or a faction in Warhammer 40k, right, there's something that draws us to it, right? For example, one of my grots loves Tau, absolutely loves Tau. He could care less about Pathfinders or Seps or anything like that. He loves the battle suits. So for him, what brings him joy are suits. He doesn't care if they're competitive. He doesn't care if they're expensive. He just wants to build and paint giant honking battle suits with railguns because they look really cool. And that's great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. One of my other grots, he does Ultramarines, and he loves anything that's epic, right? So the crazier the character, the more stuff that's on them, the more he likes it. So for him, he doesn't really care about the vehicles, right? Like surprisingly, a Dreadnought doesn't really interest him, but command squads do, and veteran squads do, and stern guard squads do, all of those extra filigrees and stuff. He just really likes that elite foot soldier type thing. And that's what I'm talking about. We frequently get this with orcs because there's so many different ways to play orcs, right? There's the green tide, right? Where you just have as many boys as you possibly can out on the board and away you go. And that it's popular, obviously, but more often what you're getting these days are people that want a specific kind of subculture, so to say, of orcdom. Speed freaks, of course, is one of the near and dear things here to old Big Mek. We are to Red Ones Go Fasta. So, those armies that are like all fast attack focused and have lots of bikes and buggies and, def coptas and Daka jets, that's what we like. And so if that brings you joy and squigs don't, then don't buy the squigs. It doesn't matter that they're necessarily better in the meta or better on the tabletop. You really have to realize that Games Workshop is doing a pretty decent job of leveling playing fields on things here. Yeah, there's going to be some units that are a little better than others, and there's going to be some units that math out a little better than others. But on a casual pickup game, gaming with your buddies kind of a thing, the units are really even. So buy what makes you happy. If you like painting vehicles, buy vehicles. Who cares if it's competitive? Who cares if it's not the meta? Who cares if it's not the right build? If you like Eldari Aspect Warriors, say you're old school craft worlds like me, you want all Aspect Warriors. It doesn't matter that Wraith Guard and Wraith Lord are the meta right now and that you need, Drukari and Harlequins. You don't want any of that. You just want Aspect Warriors. Then go buy the Aspect Warriors. Buy what makes you happy, because the things that make you happy, you're going to build, and you're going to paint, and you're going to play with, because that's what you want. Imperial Guard is another really, really great example. I don't like the Cadia aesthetic at all. It's just not my thing. The squatty Starship Trooper, wasn't the greatest, and now the new ones that are the tall skinny boys with the knee pads, they just don't do it for me. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. If you like it, by all means, love it and run with it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't dislike Cadia itself or the lore, the background, anything like that. Just like purely from a model's perspective, when I think about an Imperial Guard army and what I want to see on the battlefield, that's just not what floats my boat. Now, I do have some old Valhallan, the Ice Warriors, and I do love them, and I have a couple squads of them, but really, I'm a treadhead. When I think Imperial Guard, what I want to see on the board are 9 Leman Russes and a bunch of Hellhounds and maybe a couple of Sentinels. That's what I want to see. And so the things that bring me joy for Imperial Guard are to build vehicles. And so realizing that and going, okay, why am I buying yet another infantry platoon when I don't even like the infantry platoons I have? Why am I doing this to myself, right? Stop doing that. Go buy the tanks. Go get a Rogel Dorn. Put it in there with my Leman Russ formation. And that's going to make me way happier. And I'm going to play it more often. And the same thing applies to any army. There is no wrong answer. It's whatever brings you joy. It's what do you like? What is, like, when you walk into the Warhammer shop, what's the shelf you run to and you pick up the box and you're like, oh yeah, this. Like, oh, I would totally, whatever it is. Maybe it's Chaos Demons. Maybe it's, the new crew. Maybe it's, I don't know, regular vanilla Space Marines. It doesn't matter. There's no wrong answer. It's what works for you. And then just lean into it, because at the end of the day, if you love every unit in your army, you are going to love this hobby. You are going to love talking about it, thinking about it, building stuff, painting stuff. You're going to want to play games. Even if it's not the most competitive, the fact that you put everything out on the board and every single piece you put out, you loved, you're going to keep playing that army. You're going to keep loving that army. Even if you take a break from gaming, you're going to put that army on your shelf and you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, man, that's cool, right? So why care about the meta? Why care about what's competitive and what isn't? Why care about what's the right way to do things? Just buy what makes you happy. Just buy what makes you happy and build that and play with that. And now, if what makes you happy is to be really competitive and go to tournaments, that's great. That's not a wrong answer either. Then go buy competitive stuff and go be competitive. Your joy comes from the data sheet, right? Not the model. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally cool. But if you're in this for the models, if you like the aesthetics, if you like the looks, then buy that. Buy what makes you happy with that. If you like squig hogs and all of that stuff, then buy the beast nagas. Buy them and love them. If you don't like them, that's okay. Don't have them in your army at all. There is nothing wrong with that. If you want nothing but buggies, that'd be awesome. If you want nothing but bikes, that'd be awesome. You want nothing but Def Dreads and Killicans and Meganobs? Awesome. 3 Gorkanauts and 3 Morkanauts and 3 Stompas. Excellent, right? All Grots. Very cool, right? Buy what makes you happy. Build what brings you joy. Play with the minis that you love. That's Big Mek's ultimate answer to what should I buy next? And I know I can hear a few of you asking, well, how do I know that that's what I really like? If you buy it and you bring it home and you immediately rip it open and start building it, pretty good chance you like it. If you buy it and you put it in your pile of shame and you don't touch it for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, chances are it doesn't bring you joy. Maybe you shouldn't own it anymore. Who's that voice talking to me? Anyways, that's enough for this video. Drop a like if you liked it, a subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Throw it down in the comments below. I would love to hear what everybody's absolute favorite things are. Like, for me personally, people's armies are like the steak and potatoes of 40K for me. I love seeing people's entire armies, especially when they're passionate about them and they love them. So I would love just a million comments about what your favorite army is and like why that is your favorite. Like, do you like buggies or, whatever the case may be. I'd love to hear it. Throw that down in the comments. And again, if you do want specific help with finding out what to buy next, because maybe you're not sure yet, there's a link to our Discord in the comments below, in the description. Come on over. It's free to join and ask away, and we would be happy to help you out with figuring out what to buy next. So, again, that's it for this video, and until next time, Wagon!